कर दिया चालू।
हाँ,
मैं इनको सबको यही बोलती हूँ कि पहले हेडिंग जो पढ़ा रहे हो ना आप लोग, तो हेडिंग का नाम लिखते जाओ। मतलब कभी कभी कैसा, अगर पीपीटी नहीं रहता तो समझ में आता है ना।
इसीलिए मैं लिखती हूँ। Alright students, so today we are going to talk about Newton's second law of motion and its relationship with momentum. So since we call it a law has come after a lot of thoughts and hypotheses coming together, a lot of theories which has been proven right again and again. That's why it becomes a law. For it to become a law, it has to follow a certain rule. So for it to become a law, it definitely is related to some or the other concept. So Newton's second law is derived from the basic idea of momentum. Now what is momentum? Momentum is represented by small p. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. M is for mass, V is for velocity, and P is momentum. So momentum is basically the product of mass and velocity. So far, we do use the formula F is equal to ma several times. But this F is equal to ma was actually derived from momentum. So the concept of momentum and force are interrelated, and if this law, in the derivation of this law, we will understand how momentum and force are related. And then we will understand the law. Alright, so we have understood momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Now, change in momentum. Change in momentum. Change is always represented by delta. So change in momentum is equal to change in this quantity, this product also. Now we will consider a body of mass m which is moving with an initial velocity of u. Then after a certain time, let's say the time is t, will the mass change? Let's say the velocity changes. Velocity has changed. Velocity has changed to v. We learned in our previous chapter that, velocity of the body changes. Final velocity is represented by v. Initial is represented by u. And in this chapter and in our first part of this chapter, we understood the concept of force. So, keeping all that in mind, we will come to a very significant conclusion in kinematics, which is going to stay with you for the rest of your life. So now, body of mass m was moving with an initial velocity of u. So can I say at this point, the p is going to be m into u, because momentum is equal to mass into velocity, and the velocity here is u. Now, at this point, when it's moving with a velocity v, will its mass change? Does the mass of a car changes after a certain time with no given specific reason? It doesn't. So we will consider mass to be m. Here we are considering the mass to be constant, a constant entity of a body, but the velocity is v. So can I say at this point, or actually at this point, the p is going to be, here is going to be mv. So now let's come back to this equation. Delta p is equal to delta mv. So change in momentum is equal to change in mass into change in velocity. But is mass changing in this given body? Mass is not changing. So there is no change in mass. So it can be written as just mass into delta v. Delta v is what? Change in velocity. Now here p is equal to what? What is the change in velocity? Earlier the velocity was earlier the velocity was u, and now the velocity is v. So can I say it's mass into v minus u, that is the final velocity minus initial velocity. So this is our equation for change in momentum. Now the momentum has changed. Now let's come down to a very significant thing of force. Here the body was moving with an initial velocity of u. Then it got a velocity of v. Why? Why did the velocity change? Either I have pressed the accelerator or I have decelerated the car. Some of rest, motion or shape of a body. This is a general idea of force. So when we say that force is an entity that can bring a body to rest, it can set a body to motion, or it can change the shape and size. But there is also, a thin line, or some missing point, a fine print we can say, which means that force can change the speed of the body, the velocity of the body. So it changes the state of rest to motion, it changes the speed, it can change the direction, or it can change the shape and size. Any of this is possible only when force is applied. So there is a certain amount of force which has acted in this body in this given time for the velocity to change. Without applying any force, body will stay in a state of inertia. And what is the state of inertia? If it is moving, it will continue to move unless acted upon by an external unbalanced force. So there is some force which has acted, that's why it is moving, but it's moving at a different velocity. Otherwise it would have moved at the same velocity. Why will it change the velocity? Changing a velocity is also an act of force. So force actually does four things. One, it changes the state of rest. Changes the state of rest to motion. Changes the state of motion to rest. Changes the shape or size of a body, and also changes the speed or velocity of a body. Okay, speed बोल सकते हैं, not a problem, because anyways direction it does change the it also changes the direction. Another very important point. So it changes the state of rest to motion, motion to rest, can change the speed of a moving body. Basically, when it sets the body from rest to motion, the speed anyways changes from 0 to something else. So this actually comes under this context only, but still it changes the shape and size, and it changes the direction. So we can say it changes the speed only, because direction basically means speed into velocity most of the cases. So these are the things that force changes. So in this case, what is it changing? It's changing the speed. So the force required, there is a certain force required that acts on a body to change its velocity from u to v. So let's see, if I see the rate of change of momentum, or what was the momentum here? P was mu, and what is the momentum here? P is mv. So the rate of change of momentum will be what? Rate of change always means, rate of change will always mean that it is changing with respect to something, with respect to time in our case. In our case, it is changing with respect to time. So the rate of change of momentum between this point and this point, let's call it point A and point B, will be rate of change of momentum per unit time. Rate of change is happening in a certain time. So rate of change of momentum with respect to time. So if this is divided by time, this will also be divided by time. So it will be mv minus u upon t. But what is v minus u upon t? V minus u upon t basically is the change of rate of change of momentum with respect to time, which is nothing but acceleration. Therefore, delta p upon t is mass into acceleration. But this is one equation that we have got. Very significant thing to note about force here is that the same thing, the rate of change of momentum is happening because an external unbalanced force has acted. So this rate of change of momentum is nothing but the force. Therefore, force is equal to mass into acceleration, and this is one of the most significant derivations of Newton's or of momentum. स्टॉप मत कर, ये वाला मेरा रब करने का पार्ट निकाल देना, मैं कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स दो कर देती हूँ, पूरा आ जाएगा. Now we have understood that momentum is equal to mass into, momentum is equal to a product of mass and velocity. Force is a product of mass and acceleration, and it is also equal to the rate of change of momentum. Newton's second law of motion say? Newton's second law of motion says that the force, basically I am just telling it to you in very simple words, the force acting on a body is directly proportional to the momentum, or the momentum is the cause of the force is the cause of the change in momentum per unit time. So force is basically, these are very simple, this is a simple derivation I am talking about, I am not talking about the statement. Statement we all know. What does it exactly mean? It means that the force is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum and force is inversely proportional to the time. If momentum acting remains the same, then force changes inversely as per time. So if time increases, force will decrease. If time decreases, force will increase. What are the applications of this? When there is a runner or there is a long jump, person who is a sports person who participates in the long jump. So they take the long jump and they land on a sand pit. Why? Why not on a marble floor? If they land on a sand pit, their legs usually go down a little bit, their feet goes down. So it goes down till here. So let's say when they took a long jump, there is a certain force that they have applied internally on their body to take that leap. So this force is acting on the body F1 and the time taken to reach till here is T1. Alright, and let's say this is a marble floor. And in second instance, the same leap was taken, but instead they have landed on a sand pit. Here, time taken to reach only till this point. Why? Will your legs go inside the marble floor? Not really. So your body will be stopped at this contact point A. So the time taken will be T1. In this instant, when we are landing on a sand pit instead, by applying the same force by our body to take the same leap, the body goes and it sinks a little deeper into the sand. And to reach at this point, let's say this is point B. Point B is farther than point A. Time taken to reach point A is the same as T1, but to reach from A to B, there will be some additional time T2 needed. There is going to be an additional time needed. So can I say the time for the entire journey, where in the first case is T1 and the time taken in the entire journey in the second case, because in the second case the legs are going deeper. In second case is T1 plus T2. And can I say T1 is always going to be, T1 is same, because the force applied is the same, so the time is same till point A. But can I say, because in the second scenario, the total time taken is T1 plus T2, and in the first scenario, the total time taken is T1, can I say the time taken in the second journey is more? Since the time taken in the second journey is more, what will be the force? Will it be less? Because it's inversely proportional to time. Time increases, force decreases. So when time increases in the second case scenario, the force acting on my feet decreases. The force acting, the impact of the ground acting on my body decreases. This is the very same reason why when a cricketer is trying to catch a ball, when a fielder is trying to catch a ball, they move their hands back. What happens when they move their hands back? The exact same thing happens. You are extending the time of impact. Extending the time of impact, the T of impact or collision. Whatever. So, when there is a cricketer or there is a sports person, he is going to catch a ball. But if he catches the ball right where it falls, it's here. But if he moves the hand back, the time taken will be longer for the ball to touch his hand. So what will happen if time is longer? Force will be lesser since they are inversely proportional. So by extending the time, by extending the T, what happens? We decrease. By extending the T, we decrease the effect of impact or collision. Why? Because time is increasing. Now I have moved my hand, so the ball will come in a little later than it would have if my hand would have been here. So what happens? Time has increased, force acting on my hand will decrease, my chances of injury will decrease. That's one of the very, like a very small application of Newton's second law. There are many applications. Momentum and force are related in this way, and force, mass and acceleration this is how they are related. So force and momentum are going to be an integral part of your physics for a very long time now. So it's better to understand this concept very clearly.